Okay. Man's inhumanity to man. I did a video the other day. It was like 40 minutes long, and I was kind of like getting hype and kind of yelling and stuff. I get like that sometimes. I was talking about how crazy the world is and how insane the world is, and yada yada yada, all the regular normal stuff that men do. But nah, I'm not uploading that video. So this has to do with that, though. This has to do with why we are like we are, why men do the things that they do. And there's something that George Carlin said in one of his comedies. He said things will never change. Take it how it is, live with what you got, be thankful for what you got, and that's it. He didn't say it exactly like that, but basically what he said is things are not going to change. Men will never change as a whole. Mankind as a whole will never change. There's going to keep being wars. There's going to keep being these politicians that think they know everything and they really don't know too much of anything. They do know some things. They know some things. They're not completely stupid, but they're ignorant in the arenas of they don't realize that what the system is doing is the system is an implosion in and of itself. It is the problem. The problem is the thing that they are trying to fix, is the problem. And they don't even know that. And the thing that's going on now with this thing in Ukraine that everybody's talking about, the only reason I knew about this is because I seen it in a video and I seen it on my feed when I get on my computer, because I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news because I don't let that shit get in my head. But men will always be prideful. They will always have their ego and their pride for country. And they don't really see how dangerous and how irrelevant these things really are to how we really are as people. This is the problem. This is what keeps creating all these things, is the things that they are involved with and what they're doing. But a lot of them don't see that. And see, this is why people like George Carlin, Charles Bukowski, Bill Hicks, Osho, J. Krishnamurti, this is why people like that resonate with me so much, because they know. They have dug into things. They are themselves. They say what they really say when they need to say it, and they don't hold back. They're not putting on a show for the world. All this stuff you see, it's a show, people. It's a show that they put on. And that's what even Bukowski said. He said, even with the poets, like, I don't know what this is. There's some kind of trick going on here. It's not real. It's not true. And it's not. Like, I'm just using this as an example. Like poetry, like Romeo and Juliet, when they're like, oh, thou Romeo, hast thou seen? People do not talk like that. Do you understand? It's fake. People don't talk like that in real life. See, this is why I'm not a romantic person, because I think romantic stuff it's phony. It's fake. It's not real. Even though I might have this little tiny bit of, hypocrisy or some kind of a little bit of a romantic side, maybe a tiny, tiny bit, but it's not enough to actually say that I'm romantic and all this kind of stuff. And this is like the video that I did. It was like one of them videos where it was just a harsh video. And I don't want to upload videos like that, because I think a lot of us, we already know what we know. It's just we don't know certain things because we haven't actually took a brutal, honest look at our own lives, and we're judging the world constantly. We're reflecting on the world. We blame these leaders for who they are, but yet we're the ones supporting them. Do we understand that? Probably a lot of you that are watching this video, you're probably supporting some kind of governor, or you're supporting some kind of politician that keeps all this going. Do you see the hypocrisy here? But then you go, oh, look what they're doing. Look how they're sending the troops off to go do these things. And look how Putin is sending his troops to go and kill people that have nothing to do with a war at all. They're just regular people like you and I. It's just it hasn't came to our front doorstep yet. So we don't care. We might care a little bit, but there ain't nothing we can really do. It's going to happen regardless. You can't stop men from doing what men have been doing all throughout history. And most of you don't even know history. You never even forced yourself to sit there and watch videos of death camps and people sickening, horrible crimes against humanity happening to people. You never even sat there and forced yourself to watch and listen to these things like people like I have. And I'm not boasting and bragging about that because I am not proud at all. I'm not proud of anything in my life. See, this is our problem. Our problem is pride. Our pride for country. Our pride for who we are as people. Our pride for our children. Our pride for a cause. Don't you see, this is the downfall of every single man and woman in history, is their pride. You should know this if you have watched enough things, if you have seen enough things, if you have heard enough people talk, if you have actually studied history and how men have always been. And it's basically like I said, drink and be merry. Have a good time when you can. Nothing's going to change. So be happy with what you got. That's what George Carlin says. And it's really hard for me to even blame other people because I know that I can't judge anyone. I can't judge anyone because I did a lot of bad shit myself. I did a lot of horrible things in my life to creatures. Not humans. I never hurt or killed humans. I hurt and killed animals before. I did, and I feel absolutely ashamed and guilty, and I should be ashamed and guilty of that. I deserve a stain upon me. I deserve to think about that all the time. I deserve to be ashamed of that and to think about it. That is a mark on me that will never go away, the things I did. But see, a lot of people, they don't want to face themselves. And that's why you'll never know, because you never faced your own life. You never looked at yourself in the mirror. You never took a brutal and honest look at yourself. So you'll go about blaming these world leaders and blaming the world and blaming everyone when really they're never going to change. They're never going to do anything. It's not even about them anymore. It's about you now. It's about knowing yourself and knowing how this world really is. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it, but maybe do whatever you do for yourself. And then that will resonate out of you into other people to maybe say, okay, I'm listening to this guy, or what he said I didn't see that before, so let me remember that the next time that I go and do something foolish or ignorant or something that's hurting or destroying or killing another person. And see, this is how these leaders are. They're all about a persona. They're all about their pride. They're all about pride of country. And see, this is what keeps this thing going. It just keeps it going and going and going and going and going. And it's a fool's game. Nobody ever wins. They're all on the chessboard making moves, but nobody ever wins the battle. No one ever is going to win the war. Everything that they're doing right now, bombing, buildings and killing people while they're sleeping and killing children and all this lunacy. War is lunacy in and of itself. But then how can I sit here and judge it? I watch things on war and I say, wow, this is fascinating. But then I'm sitting here talking about how bad it is. I am a hypocrite. And once you examine yourself, like I have examined myself for so long, you will see that even though these men are evil and they have an agenda and they do all these things, you will see that this is the nature of man. And there are certain things within our nature that we can stop doing. And there's some things we can't stop doing. Like we can't stop our sexual urges. We can't stop impulses that we have. But we have a choice whether to act out on those things or not. But a lot of these men and women, they have never observed or looked into or taken a look for themselves as to what they are really doing to other people. Because see, it's all about them. It's all about their pride. It's all about their country. The whole thing is a smokescreen. The whole thing is a complete smokescreen. Like I'm sitting here watching The Amazing Atheist, and he said something, and I want you to think about this. I'm not going to explain it to you. But he said, everybody reads the same newspaper. Everybody watches the same news. But then you go, oh, that pertains to me. That's about me. That's speaking to me. No, it's not doing anything for or to you. There's millions of other people reading the same thing. There's millions of other people watching the same thing. But your ego tells you somehow that you are somehow important in this thing and it relates to you. And this is why I admire and I'm inspired by Charles Bukowski and George Carlin and Bill Hicks and these people that were in a league of their own because they were naked. They were authentic. They actually said and did what they wanted to. They weren't holding back on anything. They weren't going by some system standard. They weren't going by what the world was saying and what the propaganda was saying and what leaders say and governors say and politicians are saying and people in these groups are saying, these little groups that everybody has. See, this is my problem with groups. Because the individual is never actually their individual self when they're around others and around their groups. Because they have to conform to something. And the more that I sit here and think about it, I just realize there's nothing that I can do. So let me focus on my life, even with some of the things that go on with me. Let me focus on me and say, what am I? Who am I today? How can I be as authentic with myself as I can possibly be? And then maybe someone will see that and they'll understand that, and they will do similar things. Not the same thing, because none of us are the same. We're all different. But there's too many people. You're following what these men and their smoke screens are saying. It's not what it seems to be at all. And once you know this, you can never go back to it, because you realize the whole thing is a lie. Now, when I say the whole thing, I don't mean that they don't say some things that are the truth or honest, but there's still things. It's still an agenda. It doesn't matter if there's little bits and pieces of truth in there or something that they really did and they were honest about. It's still an agenda. It's still for pride of country. It's still for their own pride, their ego. And I understand that a lot of people, there are psychopaths in this world, and I don't have anything against psychopaths. It's just that I know that a lot of these people, they can't feel empathy or sympathy for other people. They don't have the brain capability to do it. It's just not with them or a part of them. You see, it is with me. I do have empathy and sympathy for things. And the reason that I have empathy and sympathy, the reason I talk about these things, is because I have that. And I'm not saying I'm better or worse. I'm not boasting about it. But maybe someone that is like what I'm talking about will see that I'm like I am. That's the only way they can know, is if they learn from another person that is already doing it or has already went through it or experienced it for themselves. How else are they going to know? You can't know something until you experience it. It's just like the saying, how are you going to know what honey tastes like if you never tasted honey before? You can never know what it tastes like. You can sit here and think about it. You can guess. You can argue about it until you're blue in the face. You ain't going to know what it tastes like until you actually taste it. And see, I forced myself to watch things that I didn't want to watch. I forced myself to get involved with things that I did not want to get involved with. I forced myself to take a brutally honest look at myself. I watched what other people probably wouldn't watch because it's too much to watch. I faced myself in my life. And prideful men, they will never face themselves, because they have to have this persona that they put on. They have to wear the mask every day. They have to lie in order to seem as though they're one thing, but they're the complete other thing. Behind the scenes, they're doing something completely different than what they're telling you on TV or what they're speaking to people face to face. It's a completely different thing. And like I said, the more that I sit here and think about it, I'm reminded of what George Carlin said. It's not going to change. Be happy with what you got. The owners of this country, they don't want that for you. They don't want you to know certain things. Because the people in power are the ones that are keeping everybody blind, and we are following and supporting and going for and listening to these people that are in power. And then you wonder why there's this problem. Because we, the people, are the problem. And I know my own problems. I know the problem that I was a part of. I already faced myself in those areas. I can't face myself anymore. I've already did that. I've already repented for the things I did in my life. I already went through that stage. I've already faced the darkness. And this is why it keeps going like it does, because prideful men will not face themselves. This is something that Putin said when he was a kid. He said that there was a rat in a corner, and once a rat is in a corner, eventually it will jump. And you see, when you push someone with pride into a corner, when you push someone that has that persona that says, I will not lose, I have a pride for my country, I have a pride for myself that I can't let down. I can't let people see, excuse me, I can't let people see what really goes on here, who I really am. And see, when you back them into a corner and you confront them with this, eventually they're going to jump. They're going to do something that they wouldn't otherwise do if they weren't confronted, or you actually told them about what was going on. And this is only for the few. Listen, let us stop thinking that everyone is going to get this. There's going to be very few people that understand and get this, and it does not make you special because you get this. See, you will realize that even judging anymore is stupid. It's pointless, because you realize that you are bits and pieces of what you're talking about. Even though you may not be doing those things anymore, you've done some of them before. Because, any of you, those of you without sin, throw the first stone. Basically that's what I'm saying here. And I don't like using the word sin, because then people get religious with it. Those of you who have never did anything wrong, go ahead, throw the first stone. Can any of you throw it? So look at me as the person that you're throwing the stone to if you never did anything wrong. And I guarantee you there is not one of you that said you could throw the stone. And the person that did say they can throw the stone, then those are probably the prideful, the arrogant, the people that act like they never did anything wrong. They act like they're special. They act like they're something so important in this world. And they're just another human being like you and I. The people that you see all these things being done to, they can be done to you and I too. It just hasn't, like I said, it hasn't come to your doorstep yet. It hasn't come to your town. It hasn't come to your city, to your life. So you kind of turn your cheek. You turn the other way and you just and you just ignore it, and you go about with your life and you never face it. And in that facing it, you will eventually come to the ultimate conclusion that this will never change. Man's and woman's nature will never change. The world as a whole, the mankind as a whole will never change. It is only the individual people that can do what they need to do when they need to do it, when the time is to do it. And that's it. It's as easy and simple as that. And you just got to let it be that. And when it's that, then you can go about in your life and go on with your life and say, well, this is how it is. How can I really point the finger and judge or blame them for what they are? This is what men does. This is what man does. This is what a woman does. Like, I was going to do a video about this and I didn't do it because it would seem funny. But I thought about this. I don't know why it came up in my head, but I said, anyone who ever tells you that they were delivered from their sexual sin or their sexual desires, you should know that they are lying to you. You cannot just get rid of your hormones. Women cannot get rid of estrogen, and men cannot get rid of testosterone. Like, it's, you know how many times I prayed before that I wouldn't indulge in my sexual sins and I would stop being what I was. But why? Why? If you're someone religion, why would you abstain from something that is so natural? It's a natural thing. Why? As long as you're responsible and you don't rape or hurt or destroy anybody else, and you're responsible and it's mutual, there is nothing wrong with that. You have to also see that in order to see what I'm talking about, you have to understand that, and you have to see that you have been conditioned. You have been conditioned. You have been brainwashed. You have been indoctrinated with so many things. And deconditioning myself was not an easy thing. And it still isn't. I still have certain damages from religion. I still have certain things, but that's also a contradiction in and of itself, because there's some things that religion has taught me, but then some things I'm damaged by. So how can I, you see what I mean? It's a conundrum. So how can I judge it either way? How can you judge anything once you understand this? It's just the nature of people. It is how the world is. And it is the way that it is. We can sit here and we can talk about it all we want. Very little will, quote, change. This word change is even something that I hesitate to say, because the only thing that I have done is I have seen the wrong that I did in my own life, and I repented of those things. And I reflected on myself, and I actually admitted to myself that I was wrong and I wasn't what I thought I was, and I seen that I was this prideful idiot. And I lost train of thought of what I was saying. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter what I'm going to say, because it's going to be what it's going to be. There is no answer to this thing. There, whatever you're looking for, here's what I would say. Whatever you're looking for in this life, it's right here with you. It's right there with you. And see, you may not know that. And I may have to remind you of that it's right there with you. You're not going to find something out there somewhere. There's nothing out there. What is out there? It's just more people, more places, more things, more stupidity, more ignorance, more prideful men, more politicians, more pride for country. All of these things I explained, that's all you're going to find out there. And you see that I was going to go like this, but then I would have looked like I was doing a Nazi salute. So see how I'm thinking? See how I'm always thinking in my head? I'm always thinking ahead. Even though it's really not thinking, it's a natural thing now because I know. See, you would think that I'm thinking, but it's like a natural reflex. Once you've been doing it for so long, you know that this thing kind of can't go any further and you're kind of going in circles. You're speaking in circles. You're saying things that you said before. It's just that not other people know about them. And once you know, then you can move on with your life and you can actually be yourself. And you're not worried about what the world's doing because you know how the world is then. And then you'll know yourself. And knowing yourself, I'm not boasting when I say this, is the greatest gift. Even though I go through shit myself and I have my own thing going on, it is the greatest gift of all is to know yourself. I'm so glad that I know me today. And I like me, even through all of this shit that I've been through and what I go through with my mental stuff and physical stuff and all that. I still like me because I am the only one. And I don't say that narcissistically. I don't say that pridefully. See, it will be misinterpreted. I will be misinterpreted as a person. So every time that you think of me, think of somebody but nobody. Think of I am high and I am low. Think of I am good and I am bad. Think of I am right and I am wrong. Always think that of me as a contradiction. Never judge me for being one thing because I'm never one thing. But what I'm talking about now, they're always one thing. See, they're always prideful men. They always have a pride for country. They do not ever go outside of their own box. And they're stuck in their boxes. They're stuck in the corners like rats. And eventually, when something honest and truthful and something willing to expose or confront comes around, then you better watch out because they're going to jump. It's all a knowing thing, y'all. And you have to study and look into things for yourself to know. I can't know them for you. You see? So it's only you. What you're looking for is with you. It's right there with you. It's right there with you.